Frank, I'd like you to tell us how you learned that the United States was at war and about the ensuing flight with Admiral Chester Nimitz.
We're about to have some brunch, and the telephone rang. One of the other fellas answered the phone, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, the moon's made out of green cheese, too." And he put down the receiver. And, boy, the phone rang right back again. And the same guy picked it up. He said, "Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, right away, sir." And he said, "Hey, guys, this is no drill. The Japs have just bombed Pearl Harbor, and we're at war. We got to get down to the squadron immediately." That was the end of the Bloody Mary party, and it was really the end of our house. We went right on down, and I flew a patrol that day way down the coast of Mexico, because in those days our intelligence was terrible. It was at least domestic intelligence. I don't know what it was in the fleet itself, but there was a rumor that the Japanese, Pearl Harbor had been attacked. The Japanese had an invasion force. They were going to land on the coast of Mexico, come up through Baja California, across Tijuana, and invade San Diego. So I flew all the way down the coast of Mexico, Baja California, past Guadalupe Island. We didn't see anything except the goats on Guadalupe. Came back, landed at night. We never did get back to our house. They kept us in the squadron. In San Diego were big barrel cement stone hangars. We slept on cots, no showers. We stayed there for a week or two until we got the word that we were going to fly Admiral Nimitz out to Pearl Harbor, and that incidentally we couldn't even go ashore except to get our belongings and get back on the base. The cars had all the headlights blued out. You couldn't turn your headlights on, but you could drive by your parking lights, but even they had to be painted blue. So on Christmas Eve, we got the word that Admiral Nimitz was going to Pearl Harbor, and I was one of the pilots that was in the crew that was going to fly over there. Now this is on December 23rd, and we got the Admiral aboard. We had a full load of fuel, and we went over the ramp in San Diego, and this was one of the worst weather periods. And San Diego usually has gorgeous weather all year long, but this was a terrible night. We had winds up to 40 and 45 knots. I've never seen San Diego Bay like that. But we went over the side, went down to get into position to take off, and the waves were so big and the winds were so strong, we would take white water over the windshield. And the Coronado is a big airplane. It's a high airplane. The top of it's over 20 feet off the deck. And we would begin porpoising and porpoising. And I was not the senior pilot. Lieutenant McLeod was the senior pilot. And he went down and told Admiral Nimitz, he said, "Admiral," he said, "we tried 3 times to get off." He said, "I can go back and try some more." He said, "But he said, really, Admiral, the weather is so bad, I recommend we postpone the flight until tomorrow." And the Admiral said, he said, "You're the pilot, son." He said, I don't want to take any unnecessary chances." So we aborted the flight on Christmas Eve. Not many people know that, but that's true, and I was in on it. Then we rescheduled the flight for the next day, and I think I got my days wrong. It was the day before Christmas Eve, because we finally did take off on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, right.
And we brought, the weather had abated. We had a good flight, a good clear flight, and we landed in Ford Island. Let me back up. We arrived at Ford Island after an all-night flight and asked the admiral if he would like to come up to the cockpit. Remember, the Japs had already hit Ford Island and Hickam Field. Now, here we are delivering a new sink-pack fleet to his job, so we said, Admiral, would you like to see the damage the Japs have inflicted? And he eagerly accepted. The Coronado has 2 decks. He came up to the flight deck, and we put him in the left-hand pilot seat, and then we made big turns around Ford Island, and we kept making banks so he could see down out of the left-hand side. And what he saw was sickening, as it was to us. We saw the battleships, Oklahoma, California, West Virginia, the Utah. And when I saw the Utah, it was particularly meaningful to me because I had once been a TAD crew member on the Utah for a 3-month period when it was a target ship. And we used to dive and horizontally bomb it for fleet practice. Now, it was run aground and it was overturned. The Utah was completely overturned. Her keel was sticking right straight up in the air. Looking at all this, the carnage was sickening, and Admiral Nimitz just kept shaking his head, and he didn't say anything, but he kept clucking his tongue and just shaking his head. It was because there wasn't anything good to see. It was Ford Island was heaped with wrecked airplanes. The hangars had been bombed, and this is where we're going to land and take the guy so he can go to his headquarters. And then we went to Hickam Field and saw about the same thing. We did not go to Kaneohe on that flight, but when we asked the Admiral if he'd seen enough, and he nodded his head glumly, and we made our landing and made the buoy. And as the Admiral departed the airplane, we left on Christmas Eve. We delivered him on Christmas Day of 1941. And when he got off the airplane, before he got off the airplane, he went around to every single member of our crew, every white hat and every officer, and he shook hands with every crew member, and he thanked each one for a comfortable flight and apologized to everyone for having taken them from their families on Christmas Day. Now, if that isn't a giant of a man, with all he had to look forward to, all this debris and flotsam and jetsam that we were looking at, oil on the water at Ford Island was 8 inches thick just from the ships that were sunk. And he's taking us all, and he takes the time to go around to every member of that crew and shake hands and apologize to them.